Sean Meyers of the Westmoreland Sports Network, joined by the head coach of the Norwin girls basketball team, Brian Brozeski. His team scoring a victory in the 6A quarterfinals, knocking off Baldwin 57-26. That means now headed to the semis. First off, congrats, Coach. I know all regular season your defense was your calling card. It seemed like the defense once again set the tone against the Highlanders. How did that unit have such success?
First of all, it came from a great effort, collaborative, of all the girls understanding what we were trying to accomplish as a team and buying into, what their role in that process was. One of our strengths has been the ability to kind of be able to pay attention to the details that we are trying to take away from the other team, and their ability to go ahead and buy into that and execute it really paid dividends for us.
I know that there was a long layoff in terms of actual games. That wasn't to say that you weren't, still getting competitive scrimmages in, but how did your team come out so hot after not playing for almost 2 full weeks?
You know what? I wish I knew. I got to give all the credit to the girls there, making sure they were ready at tip to go out there and get a good start, because that's important to us, especially after a layoff, getting out to a good start. So, we just went in there and had the girls, just be loose but focused and ready to play. And they did a great job coming out the gate hungry and executing well.
So talk about what you did during those almost 2 weeks down. I believe I saw you had some scrimmages against some of the better playoff teams in the WPIAL as well, correct?
Yes, we were really fortunate to have, some of our local teams be able to come in and give quality practice and quality reps in Penn Trafford, McKeesport, and Elizabeth Forward. So that was a nice, mix. Instead of having to go against your same personnel, all getting a chance to see different faces that have different strengths, and definitely made us better and more prepared in the long run there, especially given the layoff of 13 days.
So Norwin's in the playoffs every single year, but for a lot of these players, it's actually their first playoff experience. Now, I know you had a few who were part of it previously, Lauren Pelangio chief amongst them, but for the players who were suiting up or at least playing prominent roles for the first time, how did they handle that? And did you have to say anything to them before or during the game about that environment?
You know what? I think our schedule throughout the regular season, being in big environments against high-quality opponents, has really helped us out in that dimension that it was the playoffs, but they didn't feel like they had any added pressure on them. They were pretty comfortable. And I think being at home helped out a lot with that also. There was a nice crowd, which was it was exciting to be in that type of environment, but it's also nice being able to do that on your home court. So really proud of the girls for just accepting, the situation and making it such that, hey, when the ball's thrown up at the start of the game, it's just the typical high school basketball game. Just got to focus in on doing what we do well and playing together and trusting the system.
I'm guessing you at least glanced at the results of the other games in 6A, and everything went according to chalk. 1 versus 4, and then 2 versus 3 in the semifinals. That means you're going against North Allegheny for the third time. Very familiar with the Tigers. You split the 2 regular season matchups. How much can you take from those first 2 meetings to apply to a third time?
You know what? Everyone grows throughout the year. And so there's little things that you can look and analyze both yourself and your opponent, but to the same respect, there's nothing that's going to be full, if you would, from there. Each team is going to continue to grow and develop, and that's part of sports, is try to make anticipations on where they're going to try to strengthen and what they're going to try to attack you at. And most of all, though, try to focus on, what you can do to make your team better. So that's one of the things that we try to do. We want to focus on our opponent, but we also want to focus on us and make sure that we're preparing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves come game day.
Did you have a feeling that you might see North Allegheny once again?
Well, it's hard to make those predictions, if you would, but didn't throw it out. So, given the past history and seeing how the bracket laid out, we thought that the probability of us seeing each other, there was a good chance of that actually happening. And so you always try to make sure you keep your notes from previous games and previous scouting reports handy. But to the same respect, you always go into there knowing that you got to watch the fresh film and see what their adjustments have been based off of what you've seen previously.
It's been a season filled with impressive victories for the Knights, but at least from my perspective, perhaps the most impressive was that home win against the Tigers. Really just a game that your team dominated almost from start to finish, certainly over the last 3 quarters. When you think back to that, what can translate to this next matchup? What did you do well that can still allow you to have success a third time around?
Well, I think both teams, whenever we had their matchups, were comfortable at home. And so, we were able to have the advantage when we played at home, and they had the advantage when they played at home. And so one of the things is just letting the neutral site not be a factor. You just got to go in there and realize, hey, we don't have to do anything more or anything less than what the expectation is. Just go in there, be you, play your game. And if we do that and we're comfortable, hopefully we turn out on the right side of things.
I think one of the good developments with winning this game in the quarterfinals is that you're guaranteed to be in the state playoffs as well. So, no matter what, you're going to have at least 2 more games. Is that comforting, or does that maybe almost work to a disadvantage because you don't have necessarily the same type of urgency if it could be potentially your last game?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a nice accomplishment. Obviously, the state tournament is one of your goals when you go into the regular season and into your season in general. But you can't be satisfied. It's like anything, whether it's the first quarter of a game or if it's the, first week of the season, you can't be satisfied with past success. And that accomplishment is nice. You have to be hungry for the main goal. And that main goal is to try to win your next game. And so we're hoping that we can stay with that focus in mind and go ahead and go out there and try to get another win whenever it comes time on Monday.
Lastly, what makes this version of the Knights so special to you?
For me, it's been our team chemistry, honestly. I love, how they practice and how they hang out and just their camaraderie in general. It's a selfless team. They go ahead and take burdens, if you would, upon their shoulders, if that means it's going to help the team and their teammate out. And that aspect of things has been extremely special. And honestly, I think it's missed in a lot of sports. And so it's really refreshing to go into practices where it's not just about, what I do, it's what can we do. And that's important. And I think that mentality has really been helpful. And I'm really proud of the girls for that.
Well, there's a lot to be proud of for what you've accomplished and for what your team has accomplished. 1 playoff win down, hopefully more to come. Brian, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Sean.